Hello and welcome to Vegas Aces. I'm your host, Heather Ferris, and we are live at the Rio. So, we are doing an AMA today. I'm really looking forward to your questions. Go ahead and put them in the chat if you have any questions. Remember to subscribe and hit that notification bell so that way you'll always be notified of our latest videos and live streams. Okay, so I got a couple updates real quick while we're waiting for people to get in here and submit their questions. One new thing is I have someone doing social media for me now, so I am no longer the person doing social media. I will, however, be the one replying to people's comments. So if you comment, I will be the one replying. But as far as posting social media, Nicole is now the one that is posting that. So it might be a little weird. I am not talking in the third person with social media. Just want to let you guys know that. So Nicole is doing my social media now. Thank you, Nicole. Also, another update too is you may have noticed on Friday night, I believe it was, that we had a video upload called Clean On Karaoke. That was a mistake. That was meant for my other channel. I have two channels, this channel and my personal channel. And my personal channel is sort of a Star Trek themed channel, especially when the convention is in town. And this week the convention was in town. So we were doing Clean On Karaoke and I uploaded it to the wrong channel. So that is why you got that upload. If you haven't checked it out, I suggest you do it now because I will be deleting that video in the next day or so. Okay, and remember, if you have any questions, put them in the chat. Let me see what you guys are saying because I am blind and I can't see anything from all the way over there. Hi, Dan. How are you? Good to see you. Thank you, Dan, for joining me on my Star Trek stuff. Yay, thank you. Okay, and then Boris. Great job at the convention. Yes, awesome. Just one question. Are you sure you won't consider another knife fight with the Mirror girl in Maryland? We did a knife fight. That was what inspired cosplay combat. Okay, so if anyone out there is watching and you don't know what I'm talking about, go to my personal channel, QTSY16, and it's all Star Trek stuff. And the end of the convention interview with the Mirror Universe girl, she's one of my friends. Her name is Shell. She's really cool. And a couple years ago, we did like a little cosplay combat of our own in the transporter. And so that was a lot of fun. We got some great pictures and everything from it. And that was what was inspired. That is what, I'm sorry, I've been talking all week and I'm so exhausted. That is what inspired me to do cosplay combat, as well as some of the other segments that was brand new this year. So really thankful for Shell for that, for her help. Okay, let's see what else you guys are doing. Don't mind me, by the way, I had 3 hours of sleep last night. Yeah, she was really awesome. Hi, James. Hey, Jay. How are you, Jay? Good to see you. Okay, so if you guys have any questions, if you're watching and you have any questions, go ahead and feel free to ask. I got a couple questions on social media that we are going to answer right now. One of them is on Twitter. His name is Mark. And do you like blue or white dollar chips better? I like white dollar chips better just because that's what I'm used to using. That's why you see white chips on my table instead of blue chips. And any brand of cards or chips that you prefer. Now, if you guys look in the description below, I have a couple links to cards and chips for you guys. So those are my favorite and they're available for you guys to purchase and they're pretty cheap compared to some of the other prices out there. So that link is for you in the description below. The next question is from Facebook, from Jason. And Jason asks, how do dealers prefer to be tipped on a card game? This is a little fun to answer because casinos, if you ask a dealer how they want to be tipped, the casino requires the dealer to answer that they want to just take the tip. They don't want to play it. Some dealers do prefer playing it, and they'll just be like, yeah, play it. That'll be fun. But as a policy, the casinos want the dealers to take it and not play it. So if you ask them, they have to take it. In the dealer tip above, oh, can the dealer tip above the wager or on top of the wager so it can be pressed or parlayed? And yes, they can do that. So when you're playing, if you're betting $10 and you want to tip the dealer $2, go ahead and put the $2 on top of the $10. And if you want, you could just offset it a little and tell the dealer, hey, that $2 is your tip. And then if you win, you can take the $2 winnings and parlay it or press it and keep parlaying or pressing for as long as you want until you get the amount that you want to tip the dealer. This is acceptable, but just so you know, if you are a dealer out there, if the player does do this, that is still their money. That is not your tip. So they could take that money back anytime that they want. So if you parlay, you end up getting like a $15 tip or something, and then the player changes his mind and he's like, you know what? I think I'm going to keep that money for myself instead of giving you the tip. He can do that. It's completely acceptable because it's his money. It's not your tip. He never tipped you. And that's how you get away with the parlay or being pressed. So again, if you guys have any questions, please feel free to ask them in the comments. Let's see what you guys are saying real quick. Hey Malik, good to see you. Our house doesn't allow dealers in the game. Okay, cool. Okay, so the next question is from Twitter, and this is from Andrew. Andrew at Poker Guy. If you don't like carrying cash, can the casino directly deposit your winnings into the bank account? And this is a good question. No, they cannot directly deposit your winnings into the bank account. However, when you're doing that, you can establish a line of credit and play with markers. And if you do have a large casino winnings, the casino will pay you by check. However, they will not mail that check to you. They will give that check to you. They'll hand it to you. And if you don't want to carry it, or if you don't want to take it home with you, something that you could do is you can actually bring a self-addressed stamped envelope to the casino with you, and then when they give you that check, you can mail that check to yourself, and they will put that envelope in the mail for you. So I hope that answers your question, Andrew. Let's see what you guys are saying in the chats real quick. Larry, hi, how are you? Hey. And Larry asks, how is your evening? Oh my goodness. I just did the Star Trek convention. That was a whole week, and I am fried. I am a total zombie. I got like 0 sleep, so bear with me, please. Thank you, Jay. Appreciate it. Thanks for your help on that. Okay, so Dan asks, TMI, if so, you can pass. The red uniform dress that you were wearing for the Star Trek convention, do you have shorts on under it, or are you just taking your chances? No, I do not have shorts on under that. I have stockings, nylons, and that's it, just nylons and normal undergarments. So it's not that bad. Oh, cool. Glad you're here, Andrew. Awesome. Okay, so we got another question from Pat, and Pat says, what is the biggest mistake for amateur blackjack dealers, and what is your advice for fixing it? Biggest mistake for amateur blackjack dealers, and what is your advice for fixing it? Biggest mistake for amateur blackjack players. Let me think here for 1 second. Biggest mistake. I would say the biggest mistake for amateur blackjack dealers is a lot of them are sloppy. They just don't know any better. And it's very, very important not to be sloppy when you are dealing. Following the policies and procedures pretty much to the T is your job. and it makes it a lot easier for the floor to do their job and the surveillance to do their job. What I see with a lot of newbie dealers is they're very sloppy when they put out the cards. They're very sloppy when they pay the bets. They don't follow procedure exactly. They just sort of do it half-assed, basically. And that's not acceptable when you're dealing. So you want to follow policy and procedure. And I would say that would be the biggest mistake amateur dealers make. Okay, so let's see what else you're saying. Hey, Paul Ray, good to see you. Awesome. Hey, Rocky, awesome. How you doing, Rocky? Good to see you. Glad you made it home okay. Hanafi, I'm hearing the convention wasn't as popular or well attended as previous years. Is this true? That is a fantastic question. You are absolutely correct when you ask that. This year was a lot different from the previous years. There wasn't as many people. You could actually walk through the hallways on Saturday and Sunday. Normally, you can't even walk through the hallways. There's so many people. But this year, it wasn't as packed as normal. There wasn't as many people here as normal. Another thing too is creation didn't go all out this year. There was a couple sets missing, photo op sets that was missing, as well as they didn't put the banners from the ceiling. They didn't put the banners on the ceiling, and they didn't have a couple big decorations like Cork's Bar. They have this huge Cork's Bar sign when you're entering Cork's Bar, and that wasn't there this year. And it just felt like there was a lot less this year. So I hope that answers your question. Oh, Jay, that is a fantastic point. So another big rookie mistake the dealers make is they fix their own mistakes. Absolutely correct. So if you're a rookie dealer, do not fix your own mistake. You never want to fix your own mistake. If you make a mistake, even if it's a small mistake, just a tiny error, you accidentally paid someone when you shouldn't have, do not fix the mistake yourself. Stop what you're doing, call over your floorman, tell him what happened, and then he will tell you, okay, that's cool, take the money back, do this, do that, whatever it is, and you do it and everything's fine and no one gets mad at you. I think a lot of rookie dealers think that they're going to get in trouble and people are going to get mad at them, but what a lot of rookies don't understand is the casinos understand that you're human. They understand that you're going to make mistakes, and that is perfectly acceptable. There's no problem with that. So if you make a mistake, do not feel bad about it. Do not feel like you have to cover it up. Instead, call over your floor, let him know. He'll be perfectly cool with it. He'll tell you to make the changes you need to make, and everything will be totally cool. Just don't make those changes or don't fix your own mistakes yourself. Absolutely true. Okay, let's see what else you guys are saying in here. Fred, hey Fred. Yes, awesome. I'm glad you're back. Woohoo. Just having fun. Yes, I had a lot of fun hanging out with you too, Fred. Fred and Rocky, they helped me out so much during the convention, and they also helped me with commentary too. So when I start uploading the panels from the Star Trek convention, you'll see commentary from both myself, Fred, and Rocky, and they were a huge help this year. So, hi, thank you. Good, I'm glad you're home. Okay, let's see. So, Justin, what happens when a dealer doesn't pay right? Okay, so just like I was talking about before, if a dealer makes a mistake, don't worry, it's not a big deal. Call over the floor, just let him know what the mistake was, and he will tell you what changes to make. It's totally acceptable. Okay, so Lewis says, hey Lewis, how are you? Good to see you. I love that. What is the airspeed velocity of an African swallow? 5.26 miles an hour. Bam! And that is totally wrong because I made it up. Hey Lewis, it's good to see you. Thanks for joining the stream. I love that question. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Cool. Okay, so there's no more questions in the comments section. So we are going to go back to the social media questions because we had several social media questions posted today. So let's see where I was at because I think I lost my space. Okay, so I got that one. Okay, so on Twitter, Scott at Unmarketing asks, what is the typical shift like? What is the lengths of the break? Okay, so for a typical shift for a casino dealer will always go to the casino about half an hour early. So if you're working an 8 o'clock shift, you'll never show up at 8 o'clock. You'll probably show up at 7:30 instead. You got to go in there. There is a long, long walk from the parking lot to where you have to clock in, at least in Las Vegas casinos. We usually call this the underground. And so you get to work, you go in. Some casinos, they don't give you your uniform so you could take it home. Instead, you have to go to the uniform station, pick up your uniform, and then go into the locker room and change and everything. And then you have like a locker. So it just depends on the casino. So you would go in, go to your uniform place, put on your uniform, and then you would go to the dealer's lounge. And the dealer's lounge, you would have a coffee, you would check out the toke numbers for the night before. Sometimes they have the locker rooms in the dealer's lounge instead of in the locker room. It just really depends on the casino. So you would put your stuff away, your coat, your hat, your purse, that kind of thing. And then everyone is supposed to line up at the clock-in station about 5 to 7 minutes before the time they're supposed to start. So if you start at 8 p.m., you're going to be at that clock-in station around 7:53 p.m. And everyone's going to clock in. Everyone's going to go into their pit where their table is. Oh, I forgot something. You're going to go in and you're going to check the road map. So as you're waiting to clock in, you're going to check the road map. The road map is what tells the dealers where they're going to go for that night. And you're going to see like what table you're on. And then you're going to clock in and then you're going to go to your table. And usually how it works is there's 4 dealers to a string. So you have 3 tables and then 1 relief dealer. So you and your other dealers go to your tables, and then the relief dealer figures out, okay, who's going to have the first break. And then they start giving everyone their breaks. And the relief dealer will do that throughout the whole night. So they'll go through those 3 tables and give each of those 3 tables a break, and then they'll go and take a break themselves. And that's what the relief dealer does. And then if you're on an assigned table, you're going to be on that assigned table for the entire night. And again, every casino is different. So some casinos, they change your tables up. Sometimes you'll have like a rotation where you go to this table for an hour, this table for an hour, this table for an hour. It really just depends on the casino. And then you're going to be on that table for an hour, and then you're going to get your 20-minute break, and you're going to do that over and over and over again until your 8-hour period is up. And that is pretty much what to expect when you're dealing. Scott also asked, do most casinos pool their tips? And which do dealers prefer? So there are several ways tips are handled. You can either pool your tips, which means all of the dealers share their tips within a 24-hour period, and then the tips are split evenly among those dealers, and that's known as a 24-hour split. And then you have a weekly split where all the tokes are gathered in a week's period and then split equally among all the dealers based on the number of hours they worked. And then they have a table split. So basically it's like whatever that table makes, whoever the dealer was on that table, that's what they make, that they split their tips. And then you have keep your own. So the dealer would carry around their toke box from table to table to table and then keep whatever tokes they make. And every casino is different. So if you have any questions on the toke policy for a certain casino, go to my website, vegas-aces.com. Again, that's vegas-aces.com. Go to the resources section, and then you could see the World Toke Board, and you could see what dealers make as far as tips go. And which do dealers prefer? It really just depends on the dealer. I've met dealers who prefer every other which way. So some dealers prefer keeping their own tips, some dealers prefer pooling it, some dealers prefer the weekly pool. It really, really just depends on the person and their preferences, their personal preferences. Myself, I like pooling tips because I know for a fact that even if I have a slow night and I don't make any tips, I know I'm still going to get enough that I can, pay bills, buy food, that type of a thing. So that's my personal preference. Let's see what you guys are saying in the chat real quick. Da, 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 da. I can't see. I have to go all the way up to the camera to see because I can't see. Hey, Lawson, how you doing? Good to see you, Lawson. Vince, I love your statement. He did not specify whether or not the swallow would be transporting a coconut or not. That is fantastic. I love that. Oh, cool. Hey, David, how are you? I hope you had a good birthday. It's good to see you. Did you do anything fun for your birthday, David? Let me know. Malik, can you imagine our dealer's lounge? What? Are you serious, Malik? Your dealer's lounge charges $2.50 for coffee? Oh my God, that's nuts. So here in Las Vegas, our dealer's lounge, and again, every casino is different, but usually the dealer's lounge will have a refrigerator, a microwave, tables to sit at, a coat hanger for everyone to put their coats up. Sometimes they have a locker, sometimes they don't. And then if you're lucky, sometimes you'll get a quiet room with a couch or a chair or a sofa or something, love seat, something like that. And then people go in there and they could sleep or read or that kind of a thing. So that's like the typical dealer's lounge in Las Vegas. In Las Vegas. I swear I could talk. I've been talking all week. I swear. Hey, Dane, good to see you. David, how are you? Are you doing well? I am fried. My brain is fried. I can't think. I had like 3 hours of sleep last night. We were doing the commentary for all of the panels until I think it was like 12 or 1 or something like that. And then I finally went to bed around 4 or 5. So I am totally fried. So, but I'm here and we are doing an AMA. So, doing good. Fred, what is the most common way tips are handled in Las Vegas? The most common way is for the tips to be pooled, and they normally pool it within a 24-hour period. So one 24-hour period, all of the tips are collected and then split equally among all of the dealers that worked in that 24-hour period based on the hours that they worked. David was watching your Star Trek live stream. Had a blast. Yes, awesome. I'm glad you liked them. If you guys have any suggestions, any ideas, anything like that for next year, let me know. I'm gonna again try to do the same thing next year, but of course better. So if you have any ways to improve, please feel free to let me know, or tell me, or email me, or any of the above. Boris, David, were you the person they were singing happy birthday to in the interview? Yes, that David. Yes, we were singing happy birthday to him. Exactly. Same person. Dane, I'm trying to watch your Star Trek live streams. My new place doesn't have internet until Friday. Well, Dane, I hope the move went well. I hope you're in your new place okay. Good luck with the unpacking. I know that's difficult. Fingers crossed everything works okay. Sweet. Justice, do you have any examples of very strange or uniquely awesome ways toques are handled? Oh, uniquely awesome? Give me an example of what you're thinking of because I don't know what you mean when you say uniquely awesome. Okay, let me think. A high roller. Sometimes high rollers or sometimes players give dealers gifts. Um, that could be like a tip. Technically, you're not supposed to, but they do it anyway. And sometimes people give you gifts, but it's like small stuff, so it's okay to accept it. Like, they'll give you a couple, you know, chocolate candies or something. Or they'll give you, what's something else I got? Someone gave me a flower one time. That was totally cool. So sometimes they'll give you gifts, and if they're high rollers, they'll give you like really nice gifts. I knew one dealer who got a Rolex from one of his favorite high rollers. The high roller loved the guy. He always dealt to him. And so one day for Christmas, he came in and he gave him a Rolex. So, and the casino wanted to not lose the high roller, so they allowed that to happen. But they're really picky about the gifts thing because they don't want there to be any compromise between the player and the dealer. So it really just depends. It's like sort of an iffy kind of area. Okay, so let's see what you guys are saying. I'm glad you liked it, David. That's awesome. Dane, I will tweet you some pictures. Yes, I would love to see that. Totally do that. Mark, Mark, do I have you, Mark? Oh, no, that was someone else. Never mind. Okay, Mark, where in Vegas is a good spot for an amateur blackjack player to give it a go? I would say a good spot. Okay, go to my website. In the article section, I have a 2019 guide to gambling, and there is a list of casinos that you can play at that are really, really good for players. What you're looking for as an amateur blackjack player is you probably want a low limit, so you're looking for something that's either like $1, $2, $3, that kind of a thing. I have a list of casinos that offer those low limits. Another thing that you're looking for is you want to play on a 3-2 game, not a 6-5 game. And I list all of the casinos in Las Vegas that offer 3-2, so go ahead and check that out. That would probably be the two best things to do. Make sure you stay in a 3-2 game and then probably do low limits. But read the article and feel free to use that information to your heart's content. Okay, let's see what else you guys are saying. Justice. Yeah, I don't know, just anything different from the norm that you thought was nice. Okay, well, Justice, I hope I answered your question with the gifts and everything. Dan, I didn't know the disco shirt was from Star Trek. You didn't know the disco shirt was from Star Trek? That's totally Star Trek. That's Discovery. Okay, I'm geeking out. You are watching me totally geek out. By the way, again, I know I say this before, but there are more people in here watching. My apologies for uploading Clean on Karaoke on Friday night. I totally did the wrong channel. That was supposed to go to my personal channel, not my Vegas Aces channel. If you haven't seen it, check it out because I am going to be deleting it in the next day or so. Andrew, Heather, I know it's impolite to ask, but how many years young are you and how long were you a dealer for? Okay, so I am going to be 38 in November, so I am old. I am 38 years old, and I dealt, let's see here. I started dealing in 2004, so I was 22 years old when I started dealing, and I dealt until 2009. So I stopped dealing in, no, 2010, somewhere around there. No, 2010. I stopped dealing in 2010. So I dealt for about 5 years, and then I started working on Vegas Aces after that, and I've been working on Vegas Aces ever since. Hi, Jerry. Good to see you. David, we need to start a fund now for next year's Star Trek convention so we could get more saved for you. I love that idea. I would love to give away more prizes. I would love to do more contests. I would absolutely, absolutely love to do more interviews with actors. I went around the convention area and I asked what time are we? I have to watch the time. Okay, so we're doing good on time. I went around and I asked the actors how much they would charge for an interview. Aaron Eisenberg was just so amazing, and he was very, very kind and wonderful and generous, and he did it for free. And then Garrett, I paid money for that interview. So that's, part of the donations that were given goes to paying towards the interview. There was a couple actors in there, and I'm not going to say who they are, but there was a couple actors in there who quoted me $100 for 5 minutes, and I couldn't afford that, so we didn't get those interviews. And then I didn't ask any of the really, really big actors, for example, like Kate Mulgrew or LeVar Burton, because they're just so busy and so many people want their attention that I don't think they would really be able to give us an interview. Fred, the convention area looks so lonely now. A big change from a few days ago. Absolutely. Boris, how about Sunset Station? Sunset Station is a fantastic, absolutely fantastic place to go if you are a new rookie player and you want a good place to play. Pretty much all of the station casinos are really, really fantastic for rookie players. They're really good to the locals too, so they really want to offer better rules, better odds. For example, 3-2, and yeah, I would definitely recommend the station casinos. Our break-in So Wolfgar, hi Wolfgar, how are you? Are break-in casinos rough to work for, and do a lot of scammers go there? Yes, that is a fantastic question. Yes, break-in houses are sort of hard to work for, and the reason why is because you're still doing the same amount of work, but at a break-in house, especially some of the break-in houses downtown, you're only getting $20 a day in tokes, and that just makes it a little harder to do your job when you're only getting $20 in tokes and then at $5 for minimum wage. Or at least it was $5 when I was dealing. Now it's $8, but you know what I mean, minimum wage. But break-in houses are really good too for break-in dealers, because break-in houses, they teach you. They'll teach you new games. You can learn a host of new games and everything. And that's a really good place to go and learn multiple games while getting paid for it. So instead of going to a dealer trade school and learning a game, just go to the casino, work at a casino, and then learn the games while you're getting paid. So just a little tip. 38. Wow, you look way younger. Yes. Awesome. Thank you. Tubester. Hey, Tubester. How you doing? Are you going to be on Aaron Eisenberg's podcast someday? Maybe talking about gambling at Cork's Bar. That would be really fun. I would like that. I would absolutely love to geek out about Dabo and how Dabo is sort of related to roulette, and the differences and the similarities between the two. And then I would love to pick, you know, pretty much when you saw them playing in I'm going to geek out, I'm sorry. When you saw them playing in Star Trek and everything, it was all the Ferengi. So I want to talk to all the Ferengi, and I want to see, okay, so what were you doing? How were you playing? How did you guys figure out what the game is? I believe I heard in one of the panels from years and years and years ago that when they were doing the Dabo scenes, they had no clue what they were doing as far as like how to play the game. And they were just like doing random stuff at random times and everything. So I don't think there's like an actual rules and regulations set for Dabo, but I would love it if maybe like a casino game inventor or something maybe made like a Dabo game. That would be a really awesome idea. Totally, Dan. Spock. Dan, you need to go as Spock. That would be fun. Hanafi, can you detect a card counter at blackjack? Yes. So there are certain things that you look for to see if a person is counting cards. And I have a video out there on what the dealers look for. That's actually one of my bigger, what do I say? I have a larger viewer count on that video than most, but on that video, I also have the most worst comments on that video too, which was pretty interesting because I didn't really say anything controversial, I didn't think. But there are a few, like just a handful of dealers out there who are really into the game and they count cards. So when they're dealing, they're, keeping a count on the count and they know if it's high or low. And sometimes, if you're playing, deviant strategy, if you're playing a strategy deviant, then they can tell if you're counting or not. Also, too, if you're raising your bet, lowering your bet, there are certain things that we look for. So go watch that video, check it out, and leave a comment. I got a ton of comments on that video. It's so funny reading through some of them. And then some of them are really bad. It's so funny. It's like, I'm not going to go into it. Anyway, let's see. Is Fred and Rocky from the Star Trek Las Vegas crew? They were part of my crew. They helped me out. They were my collective, which was awesome. And they were a huge help during this convention. Absolutely huge. Aw, thanks, Rocky. I appreciate that. You guys are awesome. Okay, Tubester. What are you going to do to fight the post-depression after the convention? Working on the panel videos. I'm going to sleep. I'm going to try to get more than 3 hours sleep so my brain functions. But yes, I am going to start working on the panel convention. So everyone who is waiting for the not convention. See what I mean? Okay, so the panel videos. We have commentary for them, beginning and end, so I'm going to add that to it as well. Hopefully, I will start organizing those videos tonight and possibly getting the first one out tomorrow. We'll see, but I'm going to try to do my best to get them out as fast as I possibly can. Got some people coming. She's the Energizer Bunny. You guys are funny. Well, if you don't look like Spock, maybe do an Andorian. I would love to meet you all. Come to the Star Trek convention. We'll hang out. It'll be fun. Okay, so let us go back to social media questions. On Twitter, Ace at 530Ace asks, what is the best thing about being a dealer? The best thing about being a dealer is that after a year or two, you don't even think about dealing anymore. It's just automatic. So you're not even paying attention really to the dealing. It's like you're a robot and you're just doing it the same every single time because you've done it so many times before. And when you get to that point, basically your job is to sit there and talk to amazing people from all around the world all day. And who can ask for a better job than that? It's just so much fun and so amazing, and it's perfect because you have the monotony. I mean, it's perfect because you have the monotony. Okay, I can't say this word. The monotony. You have the routine of doing the same thing every single day, but there's no day that's the same. Like, even though you're doing the same thing every day and it's always the same, you go into work and it's always going to be different. You're going to talk to different people, you're going to see different stuff, different things are going to happen. So it's really like a perfect balance, and you get like the best of both worlds. Now, what is the worst thing about being a dealer? The worst thing about being a dealer is when you have players on your table and you really want them to win and they're not winning and they're upset at you instead of being upset that they're not winning. And when they're upset at you, that's when they start, throwing that's when they call you names. That's when they start putting you down. That's when they literally throw stuff at you. I had an ashtray thrown at me one time. I've had a stalker or two. Let's see. Sometimes they put you down. They're upset. Why can't I win? If this is ever the case, if you are a dealer and you're ever put in this situation, the best way to handle this is distraction. Remember, everyone, pretty much all adults out there were all grown children. And the best way to handle an upset or crying child is to distract them. Well, that's the same way with adults, basically. So if someone is upset, if they're angry, if they're like complaining, the best thing to do is distract them. Ask them about themselves. How are they doing? What's their favorite thing to do? What do they enjoy? What are their favorite activities? What do they really, really look forward to? What do they live for? Get them completely distracted and have them talk about something that makes them happy. And you'll notice that they won't even notice that they're losing. And that will help you out a lot. Okay, so let's see what you guys are saying. Make sure you get sleep first. Yes, I totally need sleep. Crash if you need the sleep. We can wait a couple days. Oh man, I am gonna sleep so much the next couple days. Tubester, what panel was the most fun? What panel was the most fun? We saw a lot of panels. I would say the LeVar Burton and the Michael Dorn one was a lot of fun. That was probably a really, really good panel, and I'd say the most fun. And if you guys were here and you saw a panel, let me know what panel was most fun for you. Hanafi, were there any Orville fans doing Orville cosplay there? There were a ton of Orville fans here because we're Star Trek fans, so of course we like Orville too because Orville's awesome. But there was no Orville cosplay. Again, referring to the question that we had earlier, it seemed like a lot less this year, and that included a lot less cosplay. I couldn't find any Ferengi. I had this trivia thing. I was going to do a trivia segment with Ferengi, and then I was going to ask them what the rules of acquisition are, but I couldn't find any Ferengi. It was really hard to find people who were dressed up in like the full makeup and ghetto, like Andorians or Klingons. But you saw a lot of people wearing either disco shirts or the normal red shirts, yellow shirts, colored shirts or colored dresses. But there really wasn't very many cosplayers here. Yes, I totally need sleep. Okay, so we got a question from Pat. Hi, Pat. How are you? What inspired you to become? Oh, it's sort of fading away from me. Okay, there we go. What inspired you to become a dealer? I only started watching some of your videos and they're extremely helpful. Yes, thank you. You can't find a lot of people with the dedication and experience like you. Thank you. Thank you very much for watching. I appreciate it. So what inspired me to become a dealer? I wanted to pay my bills. It's a very, very, very simple answer. So before I became a dealer, I was a secretary, and I hated it. And I would work, 40 hours a week, minimum wage, and I just really, really hated it. I ended up losing my job, and my boyfriend at the time suggested that I be a dealer. And I'm like, no, I don't want to be a dealer. I never wanted to be a dealer. I grew up in Las Vegas. I wanted a real job, not dealing. And I ended up doing this. Which, by the way, this is totally a real job. But that's how I was thinking. I was, 22 and everything. When I was a teenager, I had some friends who had parents who were dealers, and I would always think, no, I want a real job. I want to be a scientist. I want to be a botanist. I want to, actually, I just want to work in science, maybe physics or something. But life didn't work out that way, and I ended up working as a casino dealer. Loved it. It was amazing. Best job I ever had in my life. And that's why I kept doing it. If I hated it, I would have stopped doing it. And yeah, that's just basically how I became a dealer. I didn't have the money to go to dealing school, which is part of the whole free dealing school thing. And my boyfriend at the time helped me and paid for the school, and I went, and that's it. Ooh, Rocky. I think I spotted a few Orville cosplayers here and there. More Star Wars and truck mashups. Yeah, R2D2 is here. You're right. Okay, absolutely correct. Fred, I didn't see, this is from Fred. I didn't see any Orville cosplay, but there was an yes, R2D2 and a Jedi. Totally. Okay, so this is from Larry, and Larry asks, when you were dealing, what was your way to lure people to your table when you had no one playing with you? I once saw a dealer at a craps table reeling them in like she was fishing for players. That is a fantastic way of doing it. It's funny, it's engaging, and it's a great way to get people in. So pretend that you're fishing and reel them in. What I would do is, when you're on a dead table, there are certain things that you want to do to help lure people over. You always want your body to remain straight with the table, open, so that way they can always see you. You never want to have your turn back. You never want to be cross-firing with another dealer. You never want to be talking to the floor. Another thing is you need to maintain eye contact. There's a rule called the 5-10-5 rule, or no, the 10-5-10 rule. Again, 3 hours of sleep. 10-5-10 rule, and that is 10 feet, 5 feet, 10 feet. So as they're walking towards you, if they're 10 feet away, you maintain eye contact with them. So 10 feet away, they're walking towards you, do eye contact. When they're 5 feet away, or pretty much right in front of you, you acknowledge them. You say hi. Hey, how you doing? And then they walk off. Okay, cool. On to the next person. And you always want to remain open and friendly and smiling, and that attracts people to your table. Fred, I also saw someone in a Starfleet uniform with the Darth Vader helmet. That was Matthew. That was Matthew Gamble. That's one of our Vegas Aces people. He's so cool. Ooh, that's a good question. So Hanafi says, are you scared that in the future AI robots will do all of the casino dealing? No, I'm not scared about that at all, and here's the reason why. They already tried that. So when was that? 2005, I think, area. You saw a lot of new slot machines go into the casinos, and they were virtual dealer slot machines. Not really slot machines, but virtual dealer machines. And it was a huge screen, and you had a full-size person that's, on screen, and they would be your dealer. And then you would sit down at the table, and everything would be electronic, the cards, everything, the chips, all of that. And then you would deal the game blackjack, or you would play the game blackjack. But unfortunately, it wasn't a big hit. There's not very many people who like to play it, and often when you see that game, you don't really see people playing that. I know sometimes people play that, but it didn't take off as much as maybe you're thinking it might have. And the reason why is because it's all about entertainment. Those slot machines, they're not slot machines, but those machines, they can't provide entertainment. They can't interact with you. They can't talk to you. They can't ask you how your day was, what you enjoy. Oh, you enjoy video games. I love video games. What video games do you play? Don't you love this? What about that? You can't get that from a machine. There's no interaction like that from a machine, and that's why I'm not scared that machines are going to take over for humans, because that human interaction, that type of entertainment is part of the game. So, yeah. Hey, J-Dog, how are you? I'm good. I'm going on 3 hours of sleep, so be kind. Okay, how are we doing on time? We are doing good. Okay. And we got one more question from social media. Pete. So here's a question from Pete. I know that this could be a little bit of a cliche question, but have you ever spotted any card counters on your table? And if so, what did you do about it? So, this is one of my favorite stories that I tell people. When I was working downtown at the Golden Nugget, we had one of the MIT card counters on my table. I didn't recognize him. I didn't know he was an MIT card counter. My floorman knew, but what happened was when he came into the casino, we had a facial recognition software in the cameras, and they recognized him. And when they recognized him, he's in the black book. So what they did was they called the cops, actual Metro Police Department, and they waited for the cops to get there. So while they were waiting for the cops to get there, he sat down at my table and he was playing, and he was just going crazy. Like, he didn't even try to hide the fact that he was counting cards. He was just obviously blatantly doing it. So for example, he would play, deviation from the strategy. He would go, 25 one hand, 1,000 another, and then back down to 50, and just a huge spread, absolutely huge. And when I shuffled, my floorman came over to me and he's like, okay, instead of cutting the deck about a deck and a half in, I want you to cut this 6-deck shoe in half. So 3 decks and 3 decks. And by cutting the deck in half, the 6-deck shoe in half, this really hindered his counting performance. So I did it. We're dealing it out. After about 30 minutes, security comes with Metro Police Department. He looks over, he sees them. They don't say a word. He doesn't say a word. They don't say a word. He just stands up, puts his hands behind his back, and they handcuff him. They pick up his money. They go to the cage. They cashed him out, and then they took him away. So that is one of my stories about having an MIT card counter at my table. Let's see what else you guys are saying. Oh, yes, David. Thank you so much, David. Much appreciated. Thank you for the super chat. So we got another question from Pat. What do you think about gambling in video games? For example, GTA 5. I love it. So if you don't know, I have a couple of videos out that are specifically on this topic. I talk about how to play these casino games in the video game world. I have one for Far Cry. I have one for, what was the other one I did? Fallout New Vegas. So you could go to my YouTube page, Vegas Aces, check it out. And I do have those videos up. I would love to do more videos like that. I want to do a Red Dead Redemption one. I want to do a GTA 5 one. So I really, really do want to do that. But this year, it's just been so crazy, and I've been so insanely busy that I've had a really, really hard time making videos, which is why we're doing live streams. But as soon as I can, I would love to make a video on that specific topic. Hey, Project Phoenix, how you doing? I got an interesting one. All economic signs are pointing towards economic downturn within the next year or two. How do you think Vegas will fare in a downturn? Well, I don't have to think. I don't have to wonder. In fact, I don't even have to guess or predict or anything like that. I could tell you from history. So growing up in Las Vegas, I always heard people say, oh, living in Las Vegas is fantastic. We live near an industry that is recession proof. Even if we had a recession, it's recession proof, and will never be affected. So that's what I grew up hearing people say. And then in 2008, when we had like the Great Recession, we found out that, oh my God, the casino industry, in fact, is not recession proof. We were hugely impacted by the Great Recession in 2008. If people don't have money to spend, they're not going to gamble. And the casinos didn't make as much money. So the downturn does in fact affect the casinos, and in turn, it affects the people who are working for casinos. So like with everything else in the world, we are affected by recessions and downturn, just like everyone else. Okay, so before I get into any more questions from the chat, let me do this one last question from social media because I want to make sure I get it in here before we end the live stream. This one is from Twitter, and this is from Ordinary Average White Guy. Do casinos have dealers that are ringers? Many times I will be at a blackjack table and everyone is having fun, and the dealer loses a couple hands in a row and they switch dealers to some stone face that won't engage anyone while winning, like every hand, so the players leave. Okay, so there's a few things that might be happening if you're ever experiencing this. One, every single dealer gets a break every hour. So they deal an hour and then they get a 20-minute break. So every hour you're going to have the relief dealer come in and they're going to take the dealer out and you're going to have the relief dealer for 20 minutes. So that just happens every hour. That's like clockwork. You can't do anything to change that. That's just the way it's going to be. The other thing that happens is if there's a high roller on the table, they might want, they might be winning a lot of money. The floormen who are watching it or management who are watching this high roller win a lot of money, they might be sweating the money. And sweating the money is a very superstitious thing to do. And there are plenty of floormen and there are plenty of managers who do believe in superstitions, although really they shouldn't. It's all about mathematics. It's all about statistics. It's not about superstition at all. But they don't follow that, and they're super superstitious. Really superstitious. That was a weird way of saying that. Really superstitious. So when they're superstitious, what they'll do is they'll try to change the game up by putting a hot dealer in and taking the cold dealer out. So they'll switch it up a little. That doesn't really happen very often, and when it does, sometimes it blows up in management's face, and then they end up paying out more money than bringing money back. Again, it's all about superstitions and feelings and that type of a thing. But again, that rarely happens. I think most people know nowadays that it's all about math and it's not about superstition. And then as far as when a dealer comes in and they're stone face, that's just a bad dealer. Dealing is all about customer service. It's about being friendly, smiling, being open. Hey, come in, talk with me. How you doing? What's up? And if you have a dealer that's just stone faced and he's not talking and he's all mad and oh my God, look at you. That's just a bad dealer. They're just bad at their job and they shouldn't be dealing, and they should probably be doing something that makes them happy. You're going to get that in every single industry. No matter what, you're always going to have people in a certain industry that don't like their jobs and that aren't happy about what they do. If you get that type of a dealer, stand up, walk to the next table, wait for the other dealer that you like to come back. You don't have to play with them. That's just a bad dealer. Okay, so I answered all of the social media questions. We are at exactly the right time to stop doing this. So let me just go through the chat real quick, see if there's anything else I'm missing before we stop for the day. Yes, they arrested him not for card counting. So Todd asked, did they arrest him for card counting? No, they arrested him for trespassing. So casinos are a private property. If they read you the trespassing, I'm not thinking of the words. If they read you that paragraph, then if you come back, they can have you arrested for trespassing. So it's all trespassing. It's not card counting. You are never going to be arrested for card counting. You could be arrested for cheating, but you're not going to be arrested for card counting because card counting is not cheating. Okay. What's your favorite casino you have dealt in? The Rio. The Rio. I am at the Rio. This was my favorite casino. I used to work here at the Rio. I was a dealer here for a year or so, and this was the best place that I worked at out of all of the places I worked at. Awesome people, really great management. It was when Harrah's owned it, and they had a lot of bonuses and a lot of interactive, just really, really awesome. So I would say the Rio when Harrah's owned it. Okay, cool. So we answered your questions. We got all that done. Fantastic. If you have any more questions, please feel free to put it in the comments below. I got to get running. I got to go meet some people. So I'm going to let you guys get going. If you feel that this video, I can't think today. Just a quick reminder, we are supported by viewers like you. If you think this video was worth more than $0, then please donate whatever amount you feel this video is worth by clicking the link in the description below. Join me again next time on Thursday when we do another live stream. We have a survey app. If you want to pick what game we are going to do on Thursday, go to the survey either on Facebook and Twitter. Also, announcement, we are doing a Wizard of Odds live stream Thursday, 3 p.m. on the Wizard of Odds channel. So if you guys want to see that, just so you know, that will be this Thursday at 3 p.m. on the Wizard of Odds channel. The odds must be crazy. So I think that's it. You guys are fantastic. Thank you so much for joining me. It was awesome seeing you. And I will see you guys on Thursday. Have a good one. Bye.